While anticipation for Epic Universe is continuing to grow, a lot more media outlets are starting to talk about this ongoing and building feud, I guess you could say fight for theme park dominance between Disney World and Universal Studios. And we have an article here from The Wrap, which is through Yahoo, but The Wrap wrote this article that says why the battle between Disney and Universal for Orlando theme park dominance rages on, and it's just getting started. So I figured this would be a great article to read and give some thoughts on and see what we can learn from this. So hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic, and we're going to read through this here. So again, this is from The Wrap. And again, why the battle between Disney and Universal for Orlando theme park dominance rages on. It's just getting started. On August 10th, Disney Experiences chairman Josh D'Amaro got on a stage and made a promise about the future of Disney parks. Everything that we're going to share with you tonight is in active development, D'Amaro proclaimed in Anaheim, California at the semi-annual D23 fan convention. This means that plans are drawn. This means that dirt is moving. Maybe they went and kicked some dirt, but dirt's not moving in all the stuff they announced. I just want to be clear with all the fans out there. This isn't blue sky. We are going to do all of this. The 12,000 Disney fans in attendance cheered. Over the next 2.5 hours, Disney Parks announcements came fast and furious. There would be a new Encanto attraction for Disney's Animal Kingdom, Avatar and Coco themed attractions coming to Disney's California Adventure, 4 new Disney Cruise Line ships being added to the fleet, and a Monsters, Inc. roller coaster based on the movie's climactic door chase. They also announced a Villains Land and a Cars Land taking over Frontierland. Makes sense, right? By the end of the presentation, it felt as if Disney would be returning to theme park dominance after a few years when the company's superiority seemed to wobble. Disney knew it had to bring the fireworks. Next year, rival Universal Studios is unveiling Epic Universe, which it calls the biggest, most technologically advanced theme park in decades, just down the street from Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. A renewed battle between Disney and Universal is heating up as theme parks, which have become vital to each company's bottom line, are struggling with soft demand that they expect to continue. When Disney faltered at the box office in 2023 and struggled to make its streaming business profitable, parks served as a money machine. Yeah, because they made 70% of the revenue for the entire company. The experiences segment, which includes parks, pulled in a record $32.5 billion in revenue last year, or 37% of Disney's total revenue, and generated 6 times as much operating income as its entertainment division in 2023 and 3 times as much in 2022. Theme parks contributed $8.95 billion, or 21% of the NBC Universal parent company Comcast content and experiences revenue in 2023, and half of the adjusted earnings. Comcast theme parks revenues have ballooned 77% since 2021, while adjusted, it is up 164% in that period, which spanned the global COVID-19 pandemic. To get that cash machine turned back on, Universal's 110-acre state-of-the-art Epic Universe is coming to Orlando in 2025 with lands dedicated to, which we all know about here, Harry Potter, How to Train Your Dragon, and Super Nintendo, and more. Disney will employ a collection of stopgap measures, ride-rethemed live shows, 3D movies, and nighttime spectaculars before some really for-real projects get built near the end of the decade. Yeah, I would say that timeline is probably about what I would say. I've been saying you won't see a lot of the stuff Disney announced for like 5 to 7 years. So if you look at the last 6 or 7 years, we've opened up a lot in Orlando, Bob Iger said at the Moffett-Nathanson Media Conference in May when asked about Disney's lack of response to Epic Universe. As we've seen in the past, Universal's expansion does bring more visitation to Orlando. I'm mindful of what they're doing, but I'm confident in what we built, and I'm confident in what we will continue to build. It's not something that should be distracting to us or anxiety-provoking. I think it should. What he's talking about is bring more visitation. Whenever the Wizarding World first opened, Universal saw a bump in attendance of almost 40%, and Disney saw a bump as well. But the thing that's different about Epic Universe versus the other things that Universal has done is they are actively trying to force people to choose between them and Disney, and they're going to incentivize people to do that. So therefore, you have a lot of people where they would go to Disney and add on a day, maybe 2 days at Universal on their trip. Now they're looking at doing the majority of days at Universal. This is what Universal is trying to get people to do. Spend the majority of your trip at Universal, and maybe you tack on a couple of days at Disney. So you're seeing that be flipped. So while Disney may see somewhat of a bump just because Epic Universe is going to bring in a lot of people, I don't believe they're going to see the same bump that they saw back when the Wizarding World first opened and anything like that. I think they're rather kind of foolish to assume that they're going to see the same amount of bump whenever Universal is drastically trying to change, the visiting habits in terms of like spending more time at Universal versus Disney. Iger cited Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars themed land in Disney's Hollywood Studios, which opened in the summer of 2019, along with a Guardians of the Galaxy coaster in Epcot and a Tron themed coaster in the Magic Kingdom. But he failed to mention Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the costly and problem-plagued redo of Splash Mountain that was just a few weeks away from opening. As one insider said, nobody is booking a plane from Dallas to ride Tron. That in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, I'm sorry, that land is so disappointing in terms of what a Star Wars land could be. Now, the Star Wars brand itself is horribly damaged. That is a separate conversation, but that does affect Galaxy's Edge. But Galaxy's Edge, walking in there does not look like a Star Wars land. It looks like you're walking into a desert. It just doesn't feel like Star Wars. Other than you see the Millennium Falcon there, it just, in terms of what you probably would have envisioned a Star Wars land being like as a kid, it is not anything like that. I think is a massive disappointment. And I agree here. No one's booking a plane to go ride Tron. And Guardians is a great roller coaster. I'm not going to argue anything against that. I love Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster, but I think out of the things mentioned there, Guardians is definitely the strongest one. And Tiana's Bayou Adventure is a complete disappointment, as that thing can't even stay open. So not only is there doubt about the timeline in which Disney builds things, which tends to be pretty long, now you have doubts about, is it even going to run, after seeing what Tiana's Bayou Adventure is currently still doing. As the rumor there is that ride is going to have to go down for refurbishment to be fixed, to be able to be operational, which may end up costing about just as much money as it initially cost to build it. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But again, not the I don't think that's the best cards to be showing there, saying that you're not worried about Epic Universe. While Iger projects a lack of concern about Universal's new plans, massive layoffs during the pandemic have decimated the ranks of Walt Disney Imagineering, the secretive arm of the company responsible for theme parks, and diminished the unit's institutional knowledge. Very true. A lot of them went over to Disney, or a lot of them went over to Universal and other places. Iger also didn't acknowledge Universal's recent pattern of adding at least one major new attraction to one of its parks each year. Attractions like the Velocicoaster, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, or Villain Con Minion Blast down in Orlando. Attendance is one aspect of the park's revenue battle. Disney has, in recent years, perfected the art of squeezing more out of each guest through costly add-ons. They've definitely made that a pastime. Earlier this year, the Themed Entertainment Association published its list of most popular theme parks, with Magic Kingdom at number 1, with a slight increase in visitors, and Epcot at 3, with a sizable increase of visitors thanks to attractions like Guardians of the Galaxy and a walkthrough exhibit inspired by Moana. I'm going to take a guess here that Moana is not driving most of the people coming to Epcot. I believe that would be Guardians of the Galaxy and probably the food festivals going on. I don't really think a walkthrough splash pad area, which it is nice, but essentially it is a walkthrough kids splash pad area, is really driving attendance to Epcot. I'm just going to take a wild guess there. But both Disney's Hollywood Studios and Disney's Animal Kingdom showed a decrease in 2023 attendance. The lower income consumer is feeling a bit stressed, and the higher income consumer is traveling internationally a bit more, Disney CFO Hugh Johnston said on the Disney's earnings call this month. This softening, Johnson warned, could impact the next few quarters. Guests with the means aren't going to the parks anymore. They're traveling overseas, and those with less income can't afford it. It's not a good place to be. I think what Disney has essentially done is they've priced out the middle class, which you can make the argument that the middle class built what essentially are the Disney parks now by the middle class going. They now have been priced out, and the ultra wealthy have a lot of options, and they expect a certain level of service. So they might have gone to Disney, initially, didn't really enjoy it that much, felt like they were getting nickel and dime, the customer service, what they expected, all these little things like that. And they decide, we're not going to go back. We're going to actually go to Italy, or we're going to go overseas or something like that. So once again, Disney wanted to hit this higher threshold of guest. And sure, you can make money off those people. That does not mean that those people are going to repeatedly go to Disney every single time, especially if they're not enjoying the first trip they went on. Because again, those people do expect a certain level of service. And if you don't meet that, they have options. Whereas the middle class, a lot of times they saved up, they went as a family. It's a fun family getaway, and they've been priced out. So not a great spot to be if you're Disney, in that you're trying to nickel and dime everybody through those gates. And now you're at a point where the rich are choosing not to go and the middle class can't afford to go. I would say that's not a good spot to be. While attendance is down, per capita spending is up. It's up 2% thanks largely to add-ons like Lightning Lane program, formerly Genie Plus, a skip the line feature that used to be free, now costs between $20 and $40 per person per day. with additional costs on a per attraction basis, costing up to $20 each. And Disney has employed Magic Bands, a wristband that allows you to get into your hotel room, which they're also going to probably implement the Lightning Lane Premier, which is like Universal's Express Pass as well. That's probably something they're going to do this year, is the rumor. So yet another source of revenue, I guess you could say, for the parks. Lynn Testa, a theme park analyst and owner of touringplans.com, estimated that the Skip the Line add-ons have generated between $500 and $800 million in revenue a year for Disney. Another source said that when Imagineers are pitching new attractions, estimates for these numbers are factored in before even given the go-ahead. So it's basically what I've always figured, which is Disney is now managing from a spreadsheet. So Imagineering has ideas, but it's met with, well, this needs to make X amount of dollars or whatever the case may be, because one reason they did the Genie Plus and now the Lightning Lane system is because they wanted to monetize attractions that they otherwise couldn't do, and now they have done that, which goes internally to how they decide which rides to do, which rides need more maintenance, which rides get certain things. It's all about how much revenue do they generate. The added costs are unpopular, complicated, and require customers to give considerable attention to their phones when they're supposed to be on vacation. Major complaint? Agreed. But the squeeze isn't just on at Disney. A recently unveiled first-of-its-kind dining package for Universal Orlando Resort could save guests as much as $1,000 on a trip between now and April, Testa noted. The same TEA report showed that attendance to the Universal Orlando Resort parks has also slowed. One individual with knowledge of the situation who watches theme park trends remarked that the marketing for Epic Universe has been so strong that those planning to a trip have likely decided to wait until next year when they can visit a brand new theme park, which is what I have been saying would probably be an issue for Universal this year. Because again, if you have this brand new theme park, highly anticipated, people are talking about it, has a lot of hype. If you're looking to, especially in a time when like money's tight, people aren't spending as much money, you want to get the most you can out of the money you do spend. So I completely can see a scenario where you go, why would we go now when we can go next year, spend about the same amount of money, maybe less, depending on the deals that they're running, and go to a brand new theme park? I think there's a lot of people doing that. So I kind of figured in the short term, Universal could have a decrease in attendance because a lot of people that aren't locals are waiting on their trips until Epic Universe is open. So that does make sense. They go on here about the origins of the history between Disney and Universal. I'm not going to go into all of that there. But we're going to skip down here. So it's an Epic Universe. Next year, the opening of Epic Universe, a sprawling theme park with lands dedicated to Nintendo characters and the company's stable of Universal monsters, will heat up the competition once again. A new hotel buttresses the park, and an original land celestial park connects the various portals, cascading through the center of the complex like a shimmery silver with a new roller coaster, Stardust Racers, adding kinetic energy. Epic Universe loomed over some of Disney's announcements at D23. The proposed Villains Land and the Magic Kingdom seemed like a volley following Universal's Monsters themed land coming to Epic Universe with the emphasis on edgy spookiness. Yes. I mean, Disney's been doing this, and that they react to things that Universal's doing and kind of do their own version of it. Ergo, Universal did the Wizarding World, Disney did Pandora. Like, not the same thing, but similar in terms of like immersive and like kind of like whisking you away to a different world sort of thing. But the timing of when things will open makes the theme park arms race much closer than originally imagined. As Testa points out, the ideal opening day for Epic Universe was early 2024. But with the dining plan announced already, the earliest it could now open is probably late May 2025, assuming that Epic Universe opens next year. Well, it's going to open next year, but that would give the park only a 12 to 18-month head start to change the hearts and minds of Orlando visitors. They're giving up a lot of their advantage, said Testa. And before Epic Universe can open, Universal needs to have a transportation infrastructure in place that feels seamless and smooth, especially since it will be connecting geographically disparate locations, Testa said. With the opening of Epic Universe complete with a new hotel and a value-priced hotel rooms elsewhere on property that are far cheaper than Disney, this is very true, Universal will try and lock you into a week-long vacation. Absolutely. Completely agree there. Not that everyone thinks that Universal will be able to shift the habits of countless Central Florida vacations. I don't know if you can change 50 years of Disney vacations, said Alicia Stella, a leading theme park blogger. Even if Epic Universe is a runaway success, Stella said it's not going to shift the tide as much. Disney has more parks, they have more history. They do, but and just from what I've seen, comments on videos on this channel, what I've seen elsewhere, I don't think the loyalty to the Disney brand is as strong. I don't think it's for sure near as strong as it was a decade ago. I've seen countless people comment about how they went every year to Disney as a family, and now they're no longer going due to a lot of the things that they've been doing at the company, whether that's things they decided to get involved with politically, or whether that's things they decided to do in the parks in terms of nickel and diming and charging for things they didn't used to charge for, taking away things they've taken away that, have made the experience not feel as, quote, magical as it used to be. So for some people, sure, that's going to be the case. And Disney is still a strong brand in that sense, but I don't think it's as strong as many people think it is. I think it's still strong, but especially when you look at it in the last 10 years, it's almost a shell of what it was. And I think if Epic Universe is as great as a park as I anticipate it's going to be, as it looks like it can be, I think the coolness and newness factor will kick in with a lot of people. FOMO can kick in. And I think at the end of the day, you also could get people to just take a peek over there. And with Universal, I think the resorts are better. I like especially their values and moderates. I like them better than Disney. They have brand new hotels opening up. I think for Universal, they're thinking, come over here, even if it's just to go for a couple of days. And they were like, wow, this is really nice. I'm going to go check this out more. So they're playing more the long game because they don't have the history and the legacy that Disney has, but they're building it. And I think that's the thing that's different is I don't think the brand loyalty is as strong as it once was. I think a lot of people are willing to go over and at least give Universal a chance, check out something that's brand new, and then maybe willing to, at the very least, say, well, I'll go to both places. Or, slowly be like, well, let's, the kids really liked Epic Universe. Let's go back over here and things like that. That's kind of how that works. I don't think it happens all at once. I think it's something that Universal is building. And by the way, they're not going to stop with Epic Universe. They're going to do more. They're going to add, more than likely, Pokemon is coming into the studio side. Probably Zelda is going in on the Islands of Adventure side. They're going to continue to add more things into the existing parks on top of they have expansion paths for Epic Universe. So they're not going to stop. They're going to continue to build off this momentum. And I think that is the winning strategy for them. Instead, the war between the two giants will result in other casualties. Smaller parks like SeaWorld and Busch Gardens and cheaper hotels that line International Drive. Those are already being eaten into by Universal's value hotels. That's very true. Individuals with knowledge of the situation said that Disney is likely to complete its initial projects, including a retheme of the 3D movie In the Tree of Life at Disney's Animal Kingdom, going from A Bug's Life to Zootopia by next year. 2026 will see Test Track, an attraction that took over for World of Motion and Epcot in 1998, reopen with a new theme, and by 2027, an Indiana Jones attraction will take over for Dinosaur in Disney's Animal Kingdom. Spreading out these attractions over multiple parks is smart, said Sella, but it's also the bare minimum Disney could do. Exactly. That's a very good point. Disney also plans to open a new Magic Kingdom nighttime spectacular. Parades, fan favorite Paint the Night is rumored to it's not going to be Paint the Night, but it is going to be a new nighttime parade at Magic Kingdom. Another live experiences like a Disney Villains themed show that would replace a Cars show at Hollywood Studios and serve as a trial run for the bigger Villains land. I mean, listen, I don't disagree with a lot of stuff they're saying in here. I think I look at things given we've covered Disney World for better part of 7 years now. We've also covered Universal for better part of like 5 to 6 years, like where we had a dedicated show for it. And I think that, again, Disney does have its loyal, fan base. And a lot of the people that have been listening to our podcast for a long time, which, by the way, if you want to catch, it's over at CTM Podcast on here on YouTube. We have a Universal show and a Disney show. And a lot of our audience are Disney people, but even them inside of, like, they'll talk to us. And a lot of them are excited for Epic Universe, but they are, I guess you could say the better word is fatigued over the things that Disney has done over the past, especially since COVID, since 2019, since 2020, of the nickel and diming, where maybe they're still going. They're not going as much. They're not as excited as they once were, but people are really excited for things that Universal is doing. And I'm not saying a lot of people are looking to completely ditch Disney and go to Universal, but I think a lot more Disney people are willing to go over at least to check out Epic Universe and see what Universal has to offer, while also perhaps still going to Disney. I'm not saying they're going to drop one for the other. And I think if you're Universal, that's your playbook here. You're not trying to get people to completely ditch Disney completely. You're trying to get them to put your foot in the door, get a chance, see what they have to offer. And while Universal, there are some similarities between Disney and Universal, obviously, but they have their own lore, they have their own way of doing things. And in its own right, I like the things that Universal does. They're not perfect. They have a lot of areas to improve upon, but they have made strides and they really do a good job of trying to get guest feedback and improve upon it. And I will give them credit for that. And they do a lot of things really, really well. And I do think as this, theme park war rages on, that Universal will win over quite a few people. And it's not for everybody, and not everybody is going to like that. And I think if you are a Disney person, a strong Universal is a good thing, because all the things that were announced at D23, you wouldn't have seen any of those announcements if it wasn't for Epic Universe being built. So if you are a fan of Disney, you don't care anything about Universal, I mean, that's fine, but you should be thankful for the competition, because that is going to make Disney step up their game to do more things. Now, the things that Disney announced, in my opinion, they should have announced 2 years ago. And a lot of these things that, they're going to have some of the Zootopia show, all these things like that. I don't see that as enough of a thing to pull people away from Epic Universe. I look at that as more to trying to give the Disney audience new things to go to keep them from going over to Universal or trying to on some level. But the main things that they announced, I mean, those things are not going to be done, in my opinion, 2027, closer to 2030. When they could be done, maybe. So that's a lot of time to give Universal with Epic Universe and having an impact there. And, you're talking a good, opens in 2025. Let's say they don't get most things open until 2028, 2029, somewhere in that range. I mean, that's a good 4 year or so odd run of Epic Universe, whatever impact it's going to have in the market. So I definitely think that they have the potential to make a really big impact. Obviously, we have to see if the rumors of the park not opening as soon as we'd hoped are true. Lynn Testa said in here about it may not open until May of 2025. I can see that as a plausible timeline. They're waiting on, there's a lot of road construction in that area. So there's a lot of things they have to fix up. But I think I would rather have them get it right, get it done correctly, and then open strong. And I think that's the best, way for them going forward in the future. But I thought this was an interesting article. Some of it I agree with, some of it I disagree with it, but I think it's a good look at kind of what's going on here. And, I personally, as a theme park fan, I'm excited because I think both of them need to fight each other. I like competition. So I want to see Epic Universe be great. I would like to see Disney feel the pressure off of that and maybe not nickel and dime so much and get back to some of the things that they used to do and offering great experiences. But like the article did say, they've had a lot of, you could call it brain drain, in terms of a lot of people that, the Imagineers and some of the people that were responsible for some of the great attractions and things in the parks have left the company now. They're no longer with them. A lot of them went over to Universal. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out, especially the next decade. But I'm here for it. I think it was an interesting article. And so that's all I've got, though. That's it for this one. So if you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments what you think about this. And do you think Disney's brand loyalty will be something very difficult for Universal to overcome? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.